In this short video, I'd like to tell you about the PLDP, the Personal Leadership Development Programme. I have a client where 13 of the most senior people have their leadership judgment indicator profiles available to them. They were used at recruitment, as was the LJA, the Leadership Judgment Assessor. So they have that information available to them, which is really useful at an individual level in determining how the person can grow and develop in their leadership decision making and in their judgment. And of course, with 13 people, you've also got some idea about how that group of people are ticking in terms of their wisdom collectively, the style collectively. So what next? What can you do about that? Well, one thing that you can do, one thing that they did, was to invite everybody to have access to the Personal Leadership Development Programme. It's so useful. You see, you get access to it for 3 months, and it allows you to put up and coming scenarios into it, or historical scenarios into it, so that you can investigate them. You put a short description of the scenario into the software, and then the software asks you a number of questions. And having asked those questions, it then says, well, given that thinking, actually the style that might be most appropriate is X, when perhaps the person has put Y in. So you see how potentially useful that can be, because people can test hypotheses in the real world, then go back to the software. Maybe the software has suggested that the consultative approach is appropriate as opposed to the consensual approach. They can test that in the real world. And what's more, they can continue playing with the software, with the decision tree, with the questioning. They can hone it, they can share it, share their thinking with others around them, even with those people who report to them. They can say, hey, look, I'm using this style in this situation, and this is the logic I'm employing. This is why. Well, you can see how that can educate people around them. And so the logic begins to filter out into the community, so that people understand where the leader is coming from and appreciate why, and perhaps are even influenced enough to use a similar logic in their own activity with people who report to them. It's also important to say that the PLDP keeps a history. It keeps a history of decision making, of the types of decisions that are made, and of the person's thinking as they use the decision tree. So it provides wonderful information for review, for peer review, for peer supervision, say within that team of 13, or if you're working with some sort of mentor or coach, then obviously that can be shared, and it provides almost like a series of action replays that can be brought to those coaching sessions. So I can warmly recommend the PLDP to you. It's a fascinating tool. It's one that others have found to be really engaging, and it's the natural next step, having completed the LJI or the LJA.